Hi, fellow traders, what's happening? And we survived another week. My first week back from taking a little break, and it was interesting to say the least. Now, we finished it up a hell of a lot wilder than I had ever anticipated finishing it up. So, you guys that were in chat today, you got to see something that you may not ever see again. At least not intentionally. But we'll talk about that here in a minute. But today kind of brought back a memory, and I don't know, you guys might have already recognized the picture, this clip from one of these famous '80s movies with Tom Cruise, called Risky Business. And early on in the movie, his friend, is giving him some advice, and he's telling him, sometimes you just gotta say WTF. I'm not gonna say the word. This is a family show. So I know I might have said that a couple of times this morning. I apologize, but in the heat of the battle, sometimes things get out of whack, but not gonna say it here. So sometimes you just gotta say WTF and make your move. And he tells them, what a WTF gives you freedom. Freedom brings opportunity. Opportunity makes your future. And, being a kid, I kind of took that to heart. And it completely changed my life in high school because I started saying that. And it took so much pressure off me because here I was a student who had an undiagnosed learning disability. My parents and teachers, everybody thought I was just lazy and just didn't study because I didn't get good grades. Back then, nobody really talked about dyslexia. It wasn't a big thing. And so I was putting all this pressure on me in school because I wanted to play sports. I needed to keep at least a C average, and I was basically maintaining that. But then when I thought about this and I took that attitude, it's funny, it really freed me up from all of that pressure I put on myself. Okay, and it's like I really didn't care so much about what I was doing. I worried so much about what everybody else was thinking about me. And I had to let that go. And just saying that and thinking that, it helped me let all that go. And so I kind of did that today. And it allows you, just like back then, it allowed me to focus on what I was wanting to do and what I was doing and not worry about what other people were seeing. And it helped me do better in school. It helped me do better playing sports, and everything. So it just kind of brought that back, and I just wanted to kind of share that with you. And thinking about that is kind of what caused today to happen, which was, it was fun, but again, it's not what I do, and it's not something that I'm going to plan to continue doing. But let's look at the market first. And guys, my line in the sand here is this 319 level. You saw how it held up yesterday. It kind of held up today. We're still trading above the daily 5 moving average, which is probably the most aggressive, or it is the most aggressive moving average, and gives us the sentiment is we're still above it. And I know we ended up having a red day, but look, this is one of those candles, indecision. We had a longer tail to the downside than the up, so we tested lows more than we tested highs, but we held back up, and we closed back above the close of yesterday. So to me, that's kind of a positive thing going into the weekend. Now, obviously, there's so much going on with this COVID-19 stuff. You can't start talking about one thing without bringing up a whole bunch of other stuff. And so I'm not going to even try to talk about it. But with so much going on and so many people pulling in so many different directions, and the fact that it's kind of become political, we have no idea how this stuff is going to affect the market from one day to the next. We're just waking up the next day excited about what's going to happen. Now, waiting 2 days to see what's going to happen Monday, it breeds some anxiety, because I'm anxious to see, are they going to take this and claim this 323 level, 323.40 something level? Are they going to claim this Monday and make a run for the 52-week high? Now, when I'm analyzing the daily chart now of the SPY, I don't even care about what happened prior to February 19th. I don't care about what happened. All I care about is what we're running into now, because everything that happened here is what's still affecting the market today. Whatever happened over here has no bearing on it right now. So I'm only focusing on what happened from February 19th on. And that's kept me on the right side of things for the most part. But you could take a look at what happened yesterday. Here's the opening high and close. Here we held at 319. Pretty significant yesterday. And look today. Here's the opening range low. We had a huge sell-off early on. And then after that, we caught some traction. And we actually closed above yesterday's close. So we actually closed green on the day. And, this was, to me, again, this is significant. Even though this was a lot of choppiness, it was significant. So next week, I'm looking for it to either take out 319 or 323. If it doesn't, it's going to continue to trade sideways, and we're going to continue to chop. It'll be a pretty broad channel, maybe 5 or 6 point channel, but that'll be it. All right, so we'll look at today. Actually, let's look at Roku first, and then we'll look at Roku first, and then we'll look at MNRA. All right, so I didn't take this trade early. This was after I started my scalping mentality. Now, you guys know I've told you this is a scalper's market. Size up, scalping 40, 50 cent moves is how you can make money, but it's very risky. This is one of the risks involved with doing that. I sized up here, took 1,000 shares of, not 1,000, how many? I can't remember how many shares I took. I took more shares than I normally take. And I think I took 500 of this, if I'm not mistaken. But I took, no, I did take 1,000 shares. We'll look at it in a minute. But I got short here. And here's what I was looking at. We bounced. We pulled back. And we rejected here. We pulled back. Bounced here. And as we rejected up here, we put in a lower high. And then here we had put in a lower low. So for me, I'm like, I can scalp this in between this channel, because if you're scalping, once a stock puts in a channel, you can scalp within it. Because ideally it's going to trade to the top of the channel and then to the bottom of the channel. And so when I got in here after the rejection off of the top of this descending resistance, I felt a decent entry. I was a little bit late, but only by a few cents, not much. And it shouldn't have hurt me being able to take it off down here. So I wasn't going to take it off and wait for it to hit. I was going to take it off maybe 10, 15 cents before we got here. And because I'm scalping, I'm not looking for the huge moves. I'm not looking for the big moves. But damn if this thing didn't turn around and do the same thing it does to me every time I take a trade. It sets up, I get in, it rips back up, stops me out, rejects off of a higher level of resistance. In this case, it went right back to the resistance, and then it pulled back. But it bounced and retested twice before it actually sold off. That's not the action that I'm looking to scalp. I'm looking for a quick move down and then take it off, or take most of it off and wait to see if we keep going and get the last little bit. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking to hold something 30 minutes in this type of market environment. So this ended up, stopping me out. Now, the interesting part of the day, look at all these damn tickets. This crazy, right? You never see this from me. But what I did today, I waited. I was patient. Okay? I was patient. I waited for the stop, and I waited for the market to kind of put in do its little thing. And it was after 10 o'clock when I took my first trade. So here we pushed up over the 5-minute opening range high. I could have been aggressive and bought it there, and probably would have been able to take profit at a point or a point and a half, but I was looking for, I'm being a little more conservative today. I waited for it to put in the high. It actually pulled back. Once we confirmed, I got in. It went up a little bit and then sold right back off to the 9 and the 20. Once we came back, I was at my max loss. I had to take it off. All right. And then we turned around and bounced. And I got, I had a little frustration. And I hit my hand on my keyboard desk. And evidently my mouse jumped around. I got buttons on the side of my mouse and all that stuff. One of them must have hit because I looked up and I was in the trade. So this thing bought up here. I would never buy it up here. But, it was an accident. So I just kind of waited to see if it was going to actually work. But it didn't. It came down. I ended up taking it off. And I had to take it a minute. And I was like, you know what? I need to change my way of thinking. I need to change my way of thinking. This is not the market. This is a scalper's market. And right at that moment, I said, WTF. Let's scalp. If that's what the market wants to do, then that's what we're going to do. So that's why I jumped in with 1,000 shares. And I'm like, I'm going to scalp my way back. And then see where I go. I can trade like this, but I don't like it because I don't like the risk. And as easily as I made money today, I could have easily lost it. But it just kind of worked out. So I had one bad trade that didn't work out. You can see it pulled back before it pushed up. I had the right idea. My thesis in the end was right. But even though I was patient, it still took me out, which was really frustrating. And this was just it was an accident, but I kind of gave it a minute since I was in it. I just knew this thing was not going to sell back off. Everything was screaming up on it. But I had to stop out. I had to stick to that. And then that's when my mind changed. And I warned you guys, don't do this at home. Okay, this is not something that I like to do, but I was in that revenge mode. Revenge took over today, and it actually, had me saying WTF. I was like, whatever, let's go. So I used the low of this as my stop. Now, honestly, if I gotten stopped out on this, I would have quit for the day. But I jumped in, and all I was doing was looking for quick, easy moves. And I felt, maybe we'll come up and test the high of this candle. We may not test the high of that. So I took some off there. Once we broke through the channel that we put in here, the top, I took some more off. Let this candle go. It pushed up. I took some more off. And I was just taking it off as we were getting up. Kind of no rhyme or reason. And that's kind of what scalping is. You're just looking for 40, 50 cents, whatever. You're not really looking at levels. And that's why I'm not really good at this, because my mind automatically reverts back to levels. So instead of me taking this off right around in here, I'm waiting for levels. And that's why this was a little bit later target. But one thing about scalping, it does give you a little bit more freedom, because you're not so much stuck to a specific plan and hitting levels and all of that. It gives you a little bit more autonomy, so that if you feel the market's coming back, you take it off and wait and try to scalp another move. You take it off and wait and try to scalp another move. And that's kind of what this thing does. So I'm not trading it 100% correct in my mind, but I am, trying using that scalper's mentality. So came back and I took the rest off here and got in again. Wait a minute, I can't remember what the hell I did now. See, I got so many damn trades, I don't even remember what the hell I did. Honestly, I don't. But I know I didn't take off. Oh, okay, I know what happened. I didn't calculate this thing wrong, and I still had some more shares on this thing. Okay, I didn't calculate it right. So I ended up adding back. And then I started taking profit. So here's another one I scalped and ended up closing it out here. I got in another one and scalped it all the way up on one candle. Took the rest off when it came back. And that's all I did all day long. All I did. I tapped out here. Or either I left, I think I left a couple of shares on and ended up adding back because I never hit my target. And then I started, taking profit again. And I drew these channels because this stock actually traded in a way that I would have been able to trade the way I normally trade. And I didn't expect this stock to do this. This was completely a surprise to me. But scalping it worked out. Like I said, it's not something that I would want to do every day. I mean, honestly, when I get done with this, I'm gonna go lay down and take a nap, because mentally I'm exhausted and I can't even remember a lot of what I did today. That's just the way it is. When you scalp, it takes a lot of mental energy, and it wiped me out. And now the last trade, I had to go take my kitten to the vet to get her shot. So I had to leave at 2 o'clock. And I left this on autopilot. I left the last little bit of shares I had on autopilot and it at 95. And I said if I was here when it hit 95, I would have shorted this thing. Because I figured we were going to pull all the way back to at least VWAP going into the close. But I think, I mean, it did that. And some of you guys actually took this trade. But it didn't quite get to VWAP. And then I think some news came out late in the day or whatever that ripped this thing back up. But, you know, really, all in all, it was a really interesting day. One that you guys will probably never see me do again, at least not intentionally. I intentionally traded this way. It's not pretty, it's not clean, it's not perfect. I was kind of mixing the scalping mindset and my trend trading mindset, which is what you never want to do. You either want to do one or the other. So that's why I just really kind of stick to one thing. But amazingly, we scalped $2,203.02 out of this. We had the loss on Roku, which it eventually worked. Did exactly what I wanted it to do. The timing just wasn't there. And you know, MNRA, even with the 2 stop outs, I think I was down $650, $660 after the first 2 stop outs. And once I took the pressure off myself, done. And if you think about it, this goes back to what I've always said about trading with this carefree state of mind. Kind of what Mark Douglas taught. You know, thinking in probabilities so that you're trading in this carefree state of mind where you're not living and dying on the outcome of each trade. And just saying WTF today and just getting loose and trading the market, I mean, that's all it took. Yeah, mentally it's draining because it's work. But I didn't feel any pressure, no stress, nothing. I wasn't worried about the outcome. I was just trading. And so I've got to figure out how to get into that mindset every day, trading the strategy that I feel I'm the best at. And that offers me more chance of being consistent. Because I can do this. I can come in next week and try to do this every day. And I may have some $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 days. I may have a day here and a day there. But by the end of the week, I may have $2. And that was happening to me over and over and over again. On top of that, it just builds up. At that time, if I'm an SureTrader, God, you know how my commissions were back then. It was insane. Even with $2, you know, around $2 commissions, I'm still kicking $109.15. You know, I did have 37 tickets, but you know, I just need to figure out how to do this the way that I like to trade, that I'm comfortable with, and that I'm consistent with. So that's what I'm going to be thinking about this weekend. So you guys have a great rest of the weekend. You all that comes in on Sundays for our swing session and our market analysis, we're going to get more in depth in the market, what we're looking at, talk about what's happened so far, see if we can nail some more of these good swings, because we've got a couple from last week that did really good. Even though the market didn't do so hot. We did catch some swings that paid us pretty well. So we'll be looking to do that again next week. So you guys have a great weekend, and I will catch you on the other side.